everyone. Thank you so much for to Leylah for help letting me be a part of this wonderful event. Um, it's really exciting and kind of bizarre to be zoomed in to a room in Minnesota when I'm in New York. But I am so excited to greet you all and to talk to you guys about um what I am really passionate about, which is being a more human musician or an imperfect guide to making art while the world is burning. So, if I have any, sort of professional musicians in the room, this is something that every single person who has ever tried to study music or anything related to the arts has heard before. Um, I have heard it no less than I've heard it dozens of times. You should consider getting a double major. You should consider, learning a trade. You should really study something else. But why do people say that? Isn't music something that we consume every single day? Isn't art something that's integral to human existence and happiness? I'm just going to give you guys a brief introduction. My name is Murphy Severtson. I'm a composer. Um, I'm a graduate student at the New School in New York City. I also play the accordion, and I'm a Capricorn, sun and moon. Um, I just recently graduated from St. Olaf. I graduated in 2022, and I'll be graduating with my master's in 2024. So why do we make music? I think that we can fall into the trap of music making as something divine, something sort of only for the people who are really good at making music. But this is a quote from one of my professors at the New School, and I wanted to read that music is not a divine machine, but a complex set of social practices hardwired into every human culture. There is no such thing as music, and we are all musicians. And that really struck me as just like, of course. I mean, it's obvious to me when I think about it that music is something that every single human being engages with. And this is the way that I engage with it. So as a composer, I'm really interested in talking about something in my music. So I came across this set of comics online. And let me know if I scroll too fast, but I want to just share. I saw it, and almost immediately I came to the conclusion that this was sort of like begging to be sung. I could hear the melody almost immediately. And the way that it was able to sort of convey in a very simple medium, it's not very complex art, and the words are not particularly complex, but it was communicating exactly how I was feeling about the climate crisis. I was feeling very desperate and I was feeling very hopeless. Um, and something about these images paired with these words really we're able to sort of get to the heart of exactly how I felt and how like that there is hope and there is something decidedly worth fighting for here. So I was able to have this piece performed by the first year treble choir at St. Olaf College just about a year ago, almost perfectly a year, which is really exciting for me. Um, and I would love to show you just a little bit of it. So, it's just that's just a teaser for you guys. You'll have to go like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you'd like to see the rest of it. But yeah, it was such an incredible opportunity for me to really engage with something that I really, really cared about, and also it was an opportunity for me to work with a choir and work with a group of people who also cared about the environment, which was so exciting and so fulfilling to me. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so I think that when we think, when I think about music and creating music, I like to take some of the pressure off of myself. I care very deeply about social issues. I think that I speak to sort of a crowd of people who are, really engaging with climate crisis and climate emergencies. And I think if I'm not incorrect, I speak also to an audience of people who really engage with science. And I think that this quote from Andrew Simonet, who writes a lot about what it is to be, quote, an artist and what it is to be someone who creates, is a really, really apt point as well. I think that the idea that failure in science and art is a sign that the process is working is something that gives me a lot of freedom to like go out and find what works and find what doesn't work. Because I think that if I had gone and written that piece of music and just finished the first draft and were like, it would be a very different piece of music. And one might say, including myself, that it would be a bad piece of music. So I think that there's like a lot that goes into art and a lot that goes into science that looks very, very similar. So I think that like as we move on in this presentation, I'm going to start to talk about, my personal beliefs and where I feel that the place of art in our society, especially a society in crisis, is. This is my big thing. Young people deserve a life untouched by the climate emergency. We deserve a place in the world where we don't have to worry about the next 20 years of our lives and how it relates to this distinct climate emergency and the fact that irreparable damage has been done to the planet already. However, we also deserve to create and live full, artistic, and exciting lives despite the climate emergency now. We don't have the time to wait. I think that like something that it's is hard to grapple with is that our lives are happening despite the climate emergency. And I would love to argue in spite of the climate emergency. I think that making art in spite of the fact that, quote, we're doomed is part of the problem. This is another comic from the artist that I worked with for the last piece that I showed you. This was in the LA Times, but I think it really sort of gets to the point and gets to the heart of what I'm trying to say in this presentation. Um, we talk a lot about what we as individuals can do to stop climate change. Um, and I think that this set of graphics really encapsulates the fact that there's nothing that one person or even two or three people can do. But resistance must also be collective. We have to work together to dismantle this deadly system. And something that I really, really enjoy about the last image, and something that really gets to what I'm hoping to sort of convey as well, is there are people who are stopping the train, but there are also people who are dismantling the fence, and also people who are untying uh, the people on the tracks. I think that there's space for everything. There's space for scientists to research the real possibilities for us moving forward, but there are also spaces for artists to provide hope and provide comfort for those people who are doing that work, and also for us who are sort of living in the day to day. So I think that as artists, we have a responsibility to like develop our craft. we have to nurture our talents through performance, collaboration, and practicing, which I'm still working on too. So, it's all good. Um, but this craft needs to be developed not only in of itself, but it also needs to develop as we develop into empathetic human beings. As we develop into empathetic people, we develop into empathetic artists. Presenting authentic arts comes from being an authentic person. And once we become sort of very self actualized and authentic in our own stances that we can take as people and citizens of our world, I think that our art will be authentic and it will say what we believe, regardless of what we're writing about or what we're performing. I love Beethoven. I love, I love the classics, and I would love to continue to write music about silly things, but I think that the fact that I'm a person who cares very deeply about the climate, who cares very deeply about social issues, I don't have to write about them all the time. The fact that I care about them bleeds into the art that I make automatically. So, the question that I would love to ask you guys is, what is the art that you need to see right now? What is the art that has changed your life? And how can you go about making it for yourself and for the people that you love? I think that that's what I really hope that we can sort of go forward with. We can start to make art together, for people, with people, and in spite of the fact that the world is burning. Thank you guys so much. This was such a wonderful experience.